Hello again, guys. Back on YouTube. This probably is not going to be a short video, so anyways, I want to make a Marty Freeman rant instead of what I said yesterday about the guy. I like him as a guitar player, but when After Risk was made, my one main problem is that he wanted MegaDeth to continue in that direction, and to me that was absolutely fucking bullshit, because Megadeth was much more of a heavy metal band and a thrash metal band than a pop band, and that's why they, with The World Needs a Hero came out, they had a different lead guitar player, Al Pitrelli. And in my honest opinion, I think his style is actually much better than Marty Freeman's style on guitar playing, because the way he would play on that album was absolutely just very well done, and just the guitar solos and everything else is absolutely killer. Now, in my honest opinion, Marty Freeman's best work when the whole entire band is Euthanasia. I just think his best album with Megadeth right there, in my honest opinion. And I think it's a very underrated album by Megadeth, because people don't like this album because they think it's actually weak, and in my honest opinion it's not really a weak album. I think it's much better than Load by Metallica. The thing is though, that I lost my respect for him after he wanted Megadeth to still continue in that direction after Risk got made and it got released, and to me it was like, I don't know. And what was bullshit too, what he said, that Megadeth wasn't heavy enough for them, and I mean for him, and I was like, man, it's no wonder why you're out of the band anymore. It's no wonder why that I'm glad that you're not back with Megadeth, because now the new guitar player that's in the band actually is a lot better than you are. Because, you know, I like players that are really dedicated to a band and won't really want to continue on with what they're going to do with other releases by that band. And to me, I have more respect for that than a guy that wants a heavy metal band to be a pop band, which is really just a fucking stupid idea in the first place. And, you know, for me, you know, Megadeth was better off being a heavy metal thrash metal band after Risk got released and stuff, and they knew that what they wanted to do with their next release, and that was playing double bass drums and getting back into being heavy again, and that's actually what they did with The World Needs a Hero in 2001. And right after that album got released, they released a live DVD of Rude Awakening with the lineup they had right there: David Mustaine, David Ellefson, Al Pitrelli, and Jim DeGrasso. And they played all the old songs from Peace Sells. Well, there were some from Peace Sells, and there was some from So Far So Good So What, and some from Rust in Peace. So it was actually a mixture. And all together it was like 25 songs all together on the DVD, and on the CD it was the same amount of songs as you got the 2-disc CDs that came out that same year. And right after that got released in the year 2002, Dave Mustaine's left hand, he was sleeping right behind the couch like this, and it got all the way like numb. All of a sudden he couldn't be able to continue anymore. That's why he had to disband Megadeth for about 2 years, and then got back and made Megadeth The System Has Failed with the original lead guitar player Chris Poland. Now, the thing about Megadeth to me is that I really think absolutely the original lineup from 1985 and the lineup they have now are much better than the 1990 lineup they had back then, because to me they offered more with their music they made the music and MegaDeth sound a lot better, and to me they were more talented than what Marty Friedman and what Nick Menza was, in my honest opinion. Because those guys, to me, when you have something like that, it will never be duplicated ever again, and I don't think that there's ever going to be that sound they had with the four original members of Megadeth. So, and also that when Megadeth released, The System Has Failed, there was a different lineup with that album. Not only like the two original main guys on there, but you had a different drummer on that album and a different bass player. After that album got released, with United Abominations, we got another bass player of Megadeth, James Lomenzo, another lead guitar player, and a different drummer, which were Dave Mustaine, Glenn Drover, James Lomenzo, and Sean Drover. And this was the lineup for only one album, because Glenn Drover left the band because his wife was pregnant and he had to take care of her and stuff. So, but you have to do what you have to do sometimes and continue on. And they got the next guitar player in the band, Chris Broderick. And why I say he's better than Marty Friedman, I think he just plays so flawlessly better than Marty Friedman. And I can tell you this right now, that his guitar playing is much more, I can't think of that dang word. Much more difficult to play than Marty Friedman's guitar playing of Megadeth. And the reason I really did put the 1986 album Peace Sales, but who's buying a much more higher of a rating than Rust in Peace from 1990, is because I actually like that album a lot more than I like Rust in Peace. And because it was just so much of a great, amazing album, that I think the drums were just much better on that album. The guitar playing was much better. Dave Mustaine's vocals were much more angry and aggressive on that album, and that's why I think it's a much better album than Rust in Peace, in my honest opinion. Now, Countdown, to me, from 1992, I actually like that album better than I like Rust in Peace, because it was like you got your heavy songs, then you got your like medium speed songs, and to me it was just, for me, it was more of an enjoyable album than Rust in Peace, in my honest opinion, because I got really nothing bad to say about that album. That's why I gave that album yesterday a 9.3 out of 10 than Rust in Peace. And other reasons too is that the band was just getting better with this album as each of the songs would continue to play on, and they were just, the songs sounded a lot better than what they were in Rust in Peace. And that's just my honest opinion. I'm so sick and tired of assholes on YouTube. If you don't state your honest, if you state your honest opinion about why a certain guitar player is overrated, like I said about Marty Friedman, you're gonna get a stupid asshole, dumbass hater of just a fucking comment towards you, just being stupid. The reasons, other reasons why I like the four other guitar players and why I think they're highly above Marty Friedman's style of guitar playing is actually the way they play. That made me respect them more, actually. And it's because their styles, to me, are much better than Marty Friedman's style is. That's the reasons why. And also, to me, that I think I like their souling better than Marty Friedman's as well. You know, because like on Peace Sales, but who's buying? I like Chris Poland's solo on that song better than I like Marty Friedman's solo, because actually it's much of a better solo how Chris Poland is playing that part, and he just does it so incredibly well that it just blew me away. Especially the way Al Pitrelli played that on Rude Awakening. That was awesome. That was probably a great live show of theirs that I definitely wish I would have gone to see in 2001. Probably would have enjoyed it. And the way that I like the way Chris Broderick and Glenn Drover played the old songs from the Peace Sales, but who's buying it. Both guys did a great job, and Chris Broderick's playing of Peace Sales, but who's buying. I feel it's the same way as Chris Poland's, just very flawless and just very unique. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why all four of these guitar players of Megadeth are much better than Marty Friedman on guitar, because they're more of unique guitar players, and they all have their own different types of styles of music that they play. And to me, it was just blew me away. And I was like, when I hear all four of these guys play of the Megadeth stuff live, it's just like, wow, you know. But just because the lineup of Rust in Peace has been around for 7 years does not mean it's fucking better than the lineup that we have now. And it's definitely not better than the original 1985 lineup. Because to me, my two favorite lineups of Megadeth are from 1985 to now. I mean, I don't have nothing against the lineup that we have in Megadeth nowadays, but the lineup we had before was Dan Mustaine, Chris Broderick on Endgame, James Lomenzo, and Sean Drover. But the thing is, I like Endgame much more than I like Rust in Peace, because I think the album is actually much better, and Sean Drover's drumming, to me, as well compared to Nick Menza's drumming, I think he's a much more better drummer than Nick Menza. That's the same way I feel about Gar Samuelson, Jimmy DeGrasso, and Vinny Colada. All four of these guys are just powerhouses of drummers, and to me they're much more amazing than Nick Menza. Especially if you watch that live performance on the DVD of Rude Awakening of She-Wolf, that was, man, that guitar soloing between Dave Mustaine and Al Pitrelli just blew me away. That was just a fucking awesome live version, because of that guitar playing style together of two guys playing this song so not only incredibly fast but incredibly well. And to me, it just, I like the original version of She-Wolf, but I like the one on Rude Awakening a lot better because of the way that the guitar solos are combined together. Just awesome. And Jimmy DeGrasso's drum solo too. Wow, I never heard She-Wolf played live like that. I wish that they could play this version again with the lineup they have now, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But man, that was amazing live performance of She-Wolf. I really loved how it combined all the elements together, and it worked so well, you know, because I mean, that style of guitar playing was like, wow. I was so blown away by Albatrelli's and Dave Mustaine's guitar playing of that tune that it just made me like realize like what a great band could do with a new lead guitarist, and playing this song live of She-Wolf from 2001 was badass, and probably that was probably my favorite performance on the whole entire live DVD of Rude Awakening. But I like the rest of the songs as well. But to me, that performance right there just nails it, and just that was fucking awesome. I mean, when you hear that, I mean, it just, the solos keep continuing to just to build up and build up and build up and build up, and finally it just gets killer right there. And to me, that's why the live version of She-Wolf from Rude Awakening is just much more awesome than the one off Cryptic Writings, in my honest opinion. So yeah. Also, these four guys to me in Megadeth that made these albums with this band had made Megadeth actually a lot better, and sound. They have made Megadeth sound more incredibly just awesome when you hear albums like Killing Is My Business, Business Is Good, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? I'm not going to say So Far So Good So What, Rust in Peace, I don't know, Countdown to Extinction, Rust in Peace, Euthanasia, Cryptic Writings, World Needs a Hero, System Has Failed, United Abominations, Endgame. I mean, from all the musicians that this band has had, Megadeth just continues to keep on getting better and better and better all the time. And we don't need fucking Nick Menza or Marty Freeman in this band anymore. And this argument to me is just absolutely fucking ridiculously stupid, because that lineup was 22 years ago, and that's never going to happen again. Never. Because I really highly doubt that Dave Mustaine wants to have anything to do with Nick Menza being an asshole to the whole entire band. And Mario Freeman doesn't want to come back to Megadeth anyway. So I don't get your fucking fanboys' point of saying that the Rust in Peace lineup has been the best Megadeth lineup ever, when in my honest opinion, I can't agree with that. I really can't. Now, just because I say Marty Freeman is overrated doesn't mean I hate the guy. Okay? I'm just stating my honest opinion. And we all do that pretty much on YouTube. Thing is, though, that I'm really glad he's out of Megadeth, because I couldn't see him in the band after Risk was made, and that he wanted this band to go into that type of direction that Megadeth didn't want to ever do again, because to me that would have been fucking stupid and just ridiculous. I mean, you know, and I don't understand the logic of Megadeth Rust in Peace fanboys that think that we need this lineup, but we don't. We really don't need this lineup, okay? I'm happy with the lineup they have now. I'm not disappointed. But 13 was not as great as Megadeth Endgame. It was actually disappointing to me. It could have been better. I think the problem was with the album was how it was produced. I didn't like how it was produced, because some songs on there just sound like they were kind of off a little bit, but the production in Endgame was much better. Now, and you know, These guys have been around for 27 years. You know what, though? I'm tired of my brother saying, oh, Megadeth needs Marty Freeman. No, they don't. They don't need Marty Freeman when Chris Broderick is a much better guitar player than he is. I had it up to here with fucking Rust In Peace fanboys saying, I wish Marty Freeman would come back and Megadeth and Nick Menza, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's who I want to come back. And fucking asshole drummer that has an attitude towards everybody in the whole entire band, and a guy that doesn't want nothing to do with Megadeth because he doesn't like their music because it wasn't heavy enough for them. Yeah, that's what I want to see. No, I guarantee you, if this lineup existed still, Megadeth would have been a big downward spiral. And you don't want that with this type of band. You want the band to hire a drummer that could be better and a guitar player that could be much better than the previous one. You don't want to see a band going downhill. That's not a good thing. I mean, I call it bullshit that so many fucktards of MegaDeth Rust In Peace fanboys are still bitching and complaining about the new lead guitar player and the new drummer, and I just find that that's ridiculous. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the Rust In Peace live CD that came out 2 years ago is much more better than the original Rust In Peace from 1990. Because, to me, they played those songs so much better live on that album, and the way that the songs sounded were absolutely amazing on that live performance. Now, if this was the lineup of Megadeth 22 years ago, I could guarantee you that this lineup would still be together today. Or, if the original lineup from 1985, if Gar Samuelson hadn't died, and we had Chris Poland on guitar and the other two original members in the band, I could probably guarantee you that they still would make kick-ass albums with this lineup, and still probably would be better today than what they were back of the days of Killing Is My Business, and would have made a great album as Peace Sells But Who's Buying. But that's just my honest opinion, you know. But people need to accept reality, grow up, and get a damn fucking house and brains, because Nick Menza is not coming back to Megadeth, you fucking fanboys, and Marty Freeman is not either. Okay? I'm sick and tired of the bullshit. That's why I had to make this fucking rant, because this shit pisses me off. You know, this is what I'm not ever understanding. If the lineup from Rust In Peace still would exist today, do you think that they would make awesome albums like they did with In-Game, System Has Failed, you know, United Abominations? No. They probably would make shitty fucking albums with Marty Freeman, and Nick Menza probably will still be a total douchebag to the whole entire band. So it doesn't bother me that Marty Freeman's out of this band anymore whatsoever. I'm happy that Megadeth decided to continue on and keep going ahead with the future of Megadeth and what it was going to hold. You know, people people need to stop arguing about what lineup is better between the lineup of MegaDeth they have now and the Rust in Peace lineup, because, you know, that argument is fucking dead. I mean, I used to really think, like these dumbass fucking retards, that MegaDeth's Rust in Peace lineup was actually the best, and then when I got older for myself, I was liking the newer guys actually better than what I was liking out of Nick Menza and Marty Freeman, because the guys they got after that just made MegaDeth sound so much better and made MegaDeth get better with their music. That's the reason why I like the other guys after Marty Freeman and Nick Menza were not even in the band anymore. So anyways, this is my 25-minute rant about MegaDeth and their Rust in Peace fanboys. I'll see you guys later, and fuck you Rust in Peace fanboys, and shut the fuck up, because it's never gonna happen again. Never.